Welcome to our discussion of the petition coming up in this coming Tuesday's election. We are here to discuss asking the Select Board for your opinion on a non-binding question relating to the Tennessee Gas Pipeline plan to build a pressure step-down and gas transfer station at the corner of Hazardville and Shaker Road on Longmeadow Country Club property. With me are Mark Gold, Chairman of the Select Board, and Marie Mantz, Chairwoman of the Longmeadow Pipeline Awareness Group. Mark has been a long-time resident for 42 years and has been a Select Board member since 2009. He was educated as a chemical engineer. Mark worked at Monsanto for 35 years, and currently works at the Harold Greenspoon Foundation. Michelle has been a Longmeadow resident for 24 years and is currently chair of the Longmeadow Pipeline Awareness Group, founded in July of 2018. After a career as a public school teacher, Michelle's decided to devote her retirement to climate actions relating to the pursuit of clean water, clean air, and clean energy. Mark, could you just give us a breakdown of the article in layman's terms, please? I doubt many of us know what Mass Chapter General Law 61B means.
Sure, Bill, thank you. In short, because the land is now country club land, it's being taxed at a lower rate. It's called open space or recreational rate. It's a slightly lower rate. And Chapter 61B says that anytime land is moved out of that lower rate back to the regular categorization for taxes, it allows the municipality the opportunity to purchase the land. From our purposes, for the Select Board's purpose, the intent of Article 2 on Tuesday, June 11th's ballot is to get the town residents to authorize the community, or through the Select Board, to negotiate with Tennessee Gas Pipeline in this case, about not having their facility at that site. So it's really a mechanism for authorizing the town to negotiate using these Chapter 61B authority rights as the basis for that negotiation.
So Mark, just as far as we're concerned as residents, there's no expense involved to do this. Am I correct?
You're absolutely right, Bill. There's absolutely no expense. And although the article alludes to some funding, in order to spend any money on this would require a minimum of 2 more votes. It would require a minimum of a special town meeting vote and then a town-wide binding referendum. This is strictly an authorization, if you will, to negotiate.
So we're if we were to go ahead, we're not making that decision. We're only making the decision to give the Select Board authority, which makes sense, no cost, and before anything is going to be spent, there's at least 2 more votes by the town on that money.
Correct.
Good, great. Well, thank you. I must admit I did not know what a 61B was, and I'm not smart enough to look it up. Michelle, what's your involvement in this petition?
Well, I'm involved because, as my brief little biographical statement says, I'm very committed to the pursuit of clean energy, clean air, and an environment that is not negatively impactful on humanity. And about over a year, when I learned about this proposal, I became very alarmed because I immediately saw that this Tennessee gas metering station could pose health threats, safety risks, and also the risk of transforming that neighborhood economically on top of health and safety transformations. And I quickly moved to speak with people who shared my value system, and we formed this citizens group. It's grown from 11 people to over 120 now. Part of the problem is people were very aware that this was a proposal, and once they find out what the nature of the proposal is, they are very concerned about its impact on the neighborhood and the fact that the metering station would be located less than a half mile from an elementary school. what could possibly go wrong, especially after we've seen the devastation of Merrimack Valley in September.
Well, I think safety is on everyone's minds in Longmeadow, as you alluded to, after hearing about the fires in Eastern Mass last year. I understand there are international guidelines as to the setbacks for gas pipelines. How do the residents of Longmeadow rest assured that these guidelines will take place in Longmeadow?
Well, I mean, I think that it's given both gas companies' track record in terms of safety. I think that personally they cannot rest assured. We've seen, well, in the past year in Longmeadow, there have been at least 3 neighborhood evacuations due to gas leaks because proper stewardship of gas lines are not maintained. As far as international standards, one of the benefits of our work is that we get to learn things, and Kurt Friedman, who's a pipeline engineer that lives in Longmeadow, he has a consulting business on these issues, has alerted us to the fact that there are international safety guidelines in terms of setbacks for pipelines and metering stations. And Canada, the country of Canada, has adopted them. Unfortunately, the United States has not. But nevertheless, with respect to these international standards, this metering station and the proposed high-powered Columbia gas pipeline that would attach to it are in very high violation of those international standards. I think some of the people have been swayed by the notion that the metering station isn't going to be a big deal, but what they aren't aware of is that the Tennessee Gas meter station will enable Columbia Gas to attach this 16-inch pipeline that will have gas traveling at 200 PSIs in a very crowded residential area north on Shaker through Laurel into Springfield. People just don't know that that would be the impact.
Right, interesting. Well, thank you. Do either of you have any other comments you'd like to make about the petition?
The only thing I'd additionally like to say is to assure the folks at home that a yes vote on question 2 is an authorization for the select board to begin negotiating to invoke the rights we are given by state law under 61B. It's an important right, and having the backing of the vote of the citizens of Longmeadow puts just that little bit more emphasis behind us when we're sitting in the room with Columbia Gas. It also will send a strong message to local, state, and federal regulators who also have an input to this thing. So I'd strongly encourage people to grant that authority to the select board and send that message.
Okay.
And what I'd like to say is, in late March, the Energy Facility Siting Board, which is a state agency that advises FERC, came to Longmeadow, and at the public hearing in the high school auditorium, 130 residents had an opportunity to express their concerns. The result of that hearing was that the EFSB published their findings saying that the residents of Longmeadow are entitled to have their questions answered. They deserve to not be in the dark, and I think that voting yes on question 2 will empower the select board to do the investigations to get some of these answers that we're entitled to.
Certainly sounds fair. Well, without any further questions, if anybody has questions, you can get a hold of Mark, I know, at the town hall. And Michelle, I think you have a website?
Yes. Longmeadow Pipeline Awareness at gmail.com. And I will get to, if you have any questions or any concerns, please write to that Gmail address and I will get back to you. Maybe not immediately, but within a day or so.
Well, that's great. Well, thank you, folks, for listening, and we look forward to seeing you this coming Tuesday at the polls. Thank you.